The name of the service today was Gather the Spirit, Harvest the Power. And I hope some spirits have been gathered today during the breakfast. And if you're just joining us online or here at UU, we're going to work on gathering more spirit. So by the end of service today, we may harvest the power that spirit brings. When I asked fellowship member Lisa Baker to provide us with a testimonial during service today, she kindly pointed out that new and newish friends and members of this congregation may not have fully understood the unexplained announcement made 2 weeks ago to pick up your pledge packets. New folks may wonder, why is a thermometer now gracing the front of our sanctuary? Does this church do weather reports? And some might be confused about our stewardship moments. Apologies from the stewardship team. We forgot that we longer-term members are accustomed to an annual fall pledge drive, and due to our ridiculous presumptiveness, we skipped the whole explanation for why we are doing all that we can right now to fund this fellowship for another year. And we have a worthy goal this year of $267,000, so you'll want some explanation. Oh dear, it looks like I've missed a page, so what's that? No, it's not. It's just not there. Well, I was just about to introduce Lisa. So I'll just hand that over to you now. And Lisa has been newish. Oh, thank you.
There's always friends.
Right. Oh, this one's missing the same page. Clearly, I lost a page in the copier. Okay, I've got it on my computer, so I will do that. Lisa has been on the board just this year. She's a newish member, and she has the capacity to give us context today about what we were talking about without explanation earlier. Thanks, Lisa. We've got 4 minutes, right?
I mean, from what I had seen here. Hi, I'm Lisa Baker. As Tanya had shown me how she was introducing me, so I don't think that Tanya actually missed much there of what she intended to say. But as Tanya said, I'm newish to UUFB and not a new UU, and I'm currently vice president of the board. As Tanya said, whenever stewardship season rolls around, I remember my first experience with pledge campaigns at a pledge campaign at a UU fellowship when I had no idea what was going on. So for anyone who may feel that way or just want to be reoriented to why we do this every fall, UUFB has only one source of financial support, which is the people who walk through these doors. Literally, the people in this room. We do not have an endowment. We do not get money from the national denomination, the UUA. To the contrary, we make a contribution to the UUA each year. We have a budget in the area of $250,000 a year. Every dollar comes from the generosity and the commitment of the people in this room. This is our household. And and our contributions keep it running. So each fall, we're asked to pledge what we will contribute next year for our budget, which runs on a calendar year. Those pledges allow the board to plan the budget for next year, which our members will then vote on at our annual meeting in January. Each pledge, and believe me, they and you can see this in the pledge brochure, they range like the entire gamut. Every pledge is meaningful, whether your household is able to contribute $10 a month or whether you contribute several thousand a year or even more. More than half of our fellowship's budget goes toward our staff, which includes a budget for a full-time minister, a part-time coordinator of religious exploration, a very part-time positions for a pianist and a choir director and an RE co-teacher, and our office administrator who works for us for 30 hours a week. When the board met with the Finance Committee last month to begin planning for next year's budget, we started with big hopes. We had proposals that had been really thoughtfully prepared from some of our committees. One, to look after our building and property, to have a caretaker, so that when something goes wrong, it doesn't just fall on a couple of people, namely Tanya and Christy, to manage, to put out that fire. And another position for a tech person to strengthen our communications platform and our technical capabilities, which is right now a pretty haphazard arrangement. But those aspirations for those new positions had to wait. We quickly became aware of a more urgent need, which is that our current staff are egregiously underpaid. In a city where Walmart greeters can earn up to $26 an hour, our professional staff, our office administrator, Christy, and our RE coordinator make less than $22 an hour. Christy has been in her position for more than 6 years. For those of you who have, any kind of involvement, you know how absolutely crucial Christy is. She prepares the script for every Sunday service. She coordinates much of the work that needs to be done in our building. She provides comprehensive technical support for all kinds of functions. She keeps our books, and she handles countless details that make UUFB run smoothly. Christy's responsibilities have grown through every transition in our ministry in the last several years, from the permanent ministry of Reverend Duffy to then the interim ministry of Reverend Margot that began 3 years ago, to then Margot's move to a half-time hybrid position last year, and now to our lay-led model, which obviously puts even more strain on our staff and board. Christy holds this place together, often quietly and behind the scenes. She's been loyal, and we have seen, I think that the past boards have known that this was a situation that needed to be remedied, and we feel that we just can't put this off any longer. So meeting our pledge goal this year will enable us to raise Christy's pay to $25 an hour, which is still not, in my view at least, fully commensurate with her experience and her responsibilities. But it's a very meaningful step toward fairness and would be very deeply appreciated by Christy. Meeting our pledge will also allow us to modestly increase our RE salaries so they're getting somewhere in the range of what child care workers in this community otherwise are being offered and making. I've personally already submitted my pledge card for next year. Even in a year when I'm getting divorced, I looked at all of this and I increased my pledge substantially. I feel like this is me being in relationship with the people who work for us, bringing them somewhere near the level of standard of living that I enjoy. I want to help remedy the current situation and bring our community into right relationship with our staff. And once we've done that, and I mean, even if we blow this pledge campaign out of the water, if we blow off the top of that thermometer, if we can get it even a little higher, we can dream again about enhancements like a facilities caretaker or a stronger platform, a social media platform, a better website, all kinds of ways that we can get our message out more widely into the community. But we can't expand our vision like that until we first do right by the people who already sustain us every day.
Yeah. I found the pages. There was more than one missing. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for the explanation. And I feel my spirits are being boosted and my generosity being increased by hearing something like that. When the stewardship team selected this year's theme, Gather the Spirit, Harvest the Power, the concept of power was very much on our minds. Stewardship and power are linked by the concept of managing power responsibly. If we're careful managers of that which is entrusted to our care, we're stewards. And we are entrusted at this fellowship with being stewards of more than just the money that keeps the lights on. And that involves what we have the power to do. At this moment in this country, we're recognizing that we must change our ideas about where power comes from, and we must know how to act when we see power wielded illegally or without conscience. Many in the audience today were able to attend the rally held yesterday in Bozeman. We joined people all over the United States, all over the world, and lifted our voices because it is still our right to free speech. Char Applewick, UUFB member currently at her summer digs in Minnesota, wrote to us yesterday on the listserv after she and her husband attended their rally in Minneapolis. Quote, "I feel like we're trying to save America." We are. We needed to show those around us that we believe we are in danger of losing that right to free speech, as already many immigrants have. We were following a long tradition of nonviolent resistance because it works to make change. And we were cooperating with others, taking steps towards more cooperation that will lead us to a better society. After all, it is we, the people, who ordained and established our free government. It's up to us to keep it. From our headquarters at the UUA, they reaffirmed this to us in an email. In this critical time, our Unitarian Universalist faith compels us to show up fully in service of democracy and to fight for a world in which all people are free and thriving. Having relationships where we can speak truth to one another and disagree in a democracy requires that we invest in one another. We invest in each other to establish trust. We invest with our hearts, and we invest with our pocketbooks. Because as a recent UU webinar on fundraising that we just were aware of pointed out, organized people plus organized money equals power. But just what power in the world will we have if we reach our pledge goal? Will more money this year buy us more power? How does your pledge translate to speaking truth to power? I'll start by referring back to some points Lisa made. If you look at the simple graphs that were on our pledge brochure, you can see that the bulk of our money goes to staff. And I will reiterate a bit about being good employers. We must practice the values of our faith within our own walls by compensating our staff appropriately. And I'd like to also talk about a little bit more about the talent that we have at this congregation. I had the good fortune to volunteer in the RE classroom last week with Ashra, our new coordinator for religious education. We are extremely fortunate to have someone so dedicated to teaching our values to our children while maintaining a classroom of fun. She deserves appropriate compensation. We all know how much music inspires and moves us. Our awards-winning pianist and choir director, Laurel Yost and Megan McKeever, are amazing musicians that have decided to spend their Sundays with us, a relatively small audience. We may not be able to fully compensate for their vast musical talents yet, but we're determined to do better this coming year. We have an Episcopalian minister who is also choosing to spend her time with us, guiding, inspiring, and providing pastoral care. Well known and well loved in this community, Reverend Roxanne Klingensmith spends her time empowering us. She deserves appropriate compensation. And would we ever have any power to get things done if they were not facilitated and communicated every single day by the greatest news writer, bookkeeper, laundry doer, reminder, administrator of all time, Christy? We respect, trust, and rely on her. She deserves appropriate compensation and a hand with the laundry. In the future, when we once again have a minister, and we will, we must compensate that person appropriately to enable them to live and work in Bozeman. Without these people who inspire and support us, we are diminished. They are the foundations of our power. They help us learn and grow and understand that using our voices loudly together can make a difference in our world. Another source of our power is that spirit that is in evidence when we're together. We're hardly the only species who has adapted the strategy of group living to survive. Let us think of our fellowship in terms of being a redwood forest. The redwoods have 10 to 13 foot deep roots, certainly not deep enough to support trees over 300 feet tall. But what each tree's roots do underground at that 13-foot level is to entwine with the roots of its neighbors. And it is that that gives these gargantuan trees the stability to stay upright. This is us. Call us the redwoods of Bozeman. This is our power. We have so many ways of entwining in groups here. We don't just lift our voices in the outer community, but benefit greatly from coming together more quiet. Well, I put more quietly, but we're hardly ever that. There are friends and members of UUFB who rarely attend a service, but frequently they come for the gathering of spirit that they receive from groups such as men's group, women's group, the funky group, the humanist group, a myriad of teams and committees. Our band book club and our chalice circles, our soul matter groups, provide food for the soul. A new member we are all getting to know better is Jackson Cox. I don't see him here. He was going to speak today, but he did warn me that since he has a night job, getting up in the morning is pretty hard. So we won't hear from Jackson today. I wish we had, but we'll save Jackson for later because Jackson gives a beautiful presentation. Before we finish our service this morning, we'll hear from Kim Hoffman, who also gives inspiring talks. I would like to remind us of how good we are at pledge drives. In the past 2 years, we have exceeded the goals that we set for these funding events. This year's goal is a mere 14% higher. Now, I invite everyone to dream big, as Lisa Baker had said that we can do once our foundations are taken care of. What can we do with any excess? I exhort you to remember this fellowship is what you make it. Unite and get something done. You have an idea for a project, an event, a hike, a service? Do what Pete Seeger suggested in the old Talking Union song. You got a union now, you're sitting pretty. Put some of the folks on the steering committee. Boss won't listen if one guy squawks, but he's got to listen if the union talks. Be a union and talk to us. We are fortunate our bosses on the UUFB board is full of good listeners. They have had to tackle so much more than looking for a minister this year so far, and they take suggestions readily and consider them fully. Again, we need to be impressed by the talent in this congregation. Thank the board for volunteering to grapple with all the concerns of this congregation. We'll finish the stewardship presentation with a few words from Kim, another newish member and inspiration par excellence.
No. Kim's tall.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Wasn't that a good breakfast we had? That was awesome. It was great to hear all the visitors that are here today. And if this is your first Sunday, come again. Most of the time, things around here just kind of run like a very smooth running machine. Unless you're one of the very hard workers that does so much behind the scene, but money is hardly ever mentioned. There's like no pressure, but I am glad that we have this time to share, because money is unfortunately what makes the world go round. So we do need it in a lot of situations. So I'm happy to be able to talk about why I'm proud to do what I can to support this fellowship. I moved to Bozeman about 1.5 years ago, and this place has been my home since I got here. When I was asked to speak for this pledge drive, I spent a little time thinking about why I give and how I give and what this place means to me. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how much I value this church. Well, I realized it before, but just stopping to think about it again kind of renews it. And it's not just a place to attend on Sundays, but it's a real community. This past week, I spent a little more time here than usual, just doing different things. I got to thinking, like from last Friday to this coming Friday, I'll probably be here 5 or 6 times. So it's a place that makes a difference and a place where I feel at home. So I wanted to share a few thoughts today about some practical and some personal things that we can do and that I have done with this fellowship, and I know it's very worth it to all of us. Last year, I sent in my whole pledge online all at once, just so I wouldn't forget, and to make sure that all the money that I wanted to send would still be there, and so it was there. So I just decided I would do that. And of course, it was a smaller pledge, so I was able to do that. But it's also very easy today, thanks to our technology. You can just go on your bank's website and set up automatic payments so that your bank would actually send a check here once a month, or however often you want to send money. You can just set that up. That's how I pay a lot of my bills these days. Your bank will do that for you if you just go on their website and look up auto pay or something like that. And those are just ways to make sure that it gets done, because sometimes it's easy to promise something and then life gets in the way and we forget or whatever. So it's good to have a plan at the beginning of how you're actually going to carry out your promise. Though I did also appreciate the reminder a couple weeks ago that was given here that even if you do give online, it's kind of a good idea to just bring a couple dollars with you on Sunday to place in the offering place, just as a gesture, as the symbolism of, because it's just a time for everybody to stop and think about that. Yes, we do need to give. Everybody kind of needs to do their part to keep a place like this going. So if I ever remember to stock up on a little bit of cash, I intend to do that sometimes too. And reasons I support this place, like I said, nothing is free. And this year we're going to be thinking about housing for a new minister. And as we all know, housing here isn't cheap. And it takes money just to keep things running smoothly. And it takes even more money to actually get things done, the important work done that this church is so great at doing. This church does so many good things in the community. On the second Sunday of every month, we usually try to give to some local organization that's doing fantastic work around here for the local people. And we usually have somebody from that organization that we're supporting that month. They'll come in and talk to us a little bit about what they do. So we've heard from people from HRDC or the food bank or Planned Parenthood, just all kinds of local organizations that I wouldn't necessarily have known about all of them or what they do. So it's a very educational time. And then it's just great knowing that we as a church are contributing to those great causes. And this year, my financial situation is changing a bit for the better due to selling some land, etc. So actually one of the first things I thought of was, woohoo, I'm going to double my pledge this year. So yeah, maybe I'll be able to do that again next year. So I probably won't be able to give it all at once this time. But I just believe so strongly in the value of this church. And I love what it's all about. So I'll probably be setting up one of those automatic payments from my bank to have it just send money here. And I also have set reminders on my phone, of course, and my phone reminds me audibly, so it's hard to ignore. And so, like has already been mentioned, we're going to concentrate this year on doing better at compensating our staff, and Lisa and Tanya already did a good job talking about that, so I'll skip past that here in my notes. For those who don't know, this is my Braille display, and the little pins poke up here and make the Braille dots, so that's what I'm reading off of. So it's great to be able to come here and know that the children will be taken care of and will be learning something, and the important pastoral care that goes on here that Roxy provides. And of course I love hearing the music every Sunday from Laurel and when Megan's here with the choir. And it's really not easy to find something to belong to these days. We've probably all heard about the loneliness epidemic that's talked about so much, even in government now. People are realizing that something has to be done to help with loneliness, because loneliness has all kinds of health repercussions, and it's just not good for a community when people are isolated. And so we need to have more spaces like this that you can belong to, where the structure has already been there and you have dedicated people to keep it going, where we can all come together and celebrate our shared values and grow together and learn from each other. So I strongly suggest that we just really value what we have here and contribute what we can to keep this wonderful fellowship thriving. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you very much. Our pledge drive for funding this fellowship's upcoming year, but the stewardship team is not just looking for big donors like Kim alluded to. When I first attended my mother's UU in Louisville, Kentucky many years ago, I was what you might call flat broke. My car broke down, my daughter was in college, and that year I pledged $40 because that's what I could afford, in addition to what I put in the plate each week. But that congregation made it clear that they were happy to include me in everything, and I carry that feeling forward. We're hoping that even if you can't be a big contributor to our fund, you can be a small contributor. Be the smallest. You will bask in the feeling that your contribution is the root of everything. And you can be like the smallest who and be the yop that put us over the top. Blessed be.